Ready for what I do not know, however, is the problem. Because, Mike, this feels like the kind of movie that you would have me come on your show to watch.
Yeah, no, you're kind of right.
Not in a derogatory way, not as a pejorative, but like it is very elevated and very much something that people in the States definitely did not see for almost every reason imaginable, I feel like.
It's amazing to see how many awards it got for like all over the place.
Right. And some of the people involved with this are not unknown to Western audiences.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Right. Yeah, but it is a weird movie, and it's probably up there with some of the strangest things that we've had on this show in a while. On this episode of the Culture Cast, I am still your host, Chris Stachiw, much to the chagrin of many, and I'm joined by my good friend all the way from the Projection Booth podcast. You heard him and I recently reading some Raiders of the Lost Ark transcripts where 3 weird old white men sat in a room and talked about teenagers having sex with adults. Your friend and mine, all the way from the Projection Booth, Mike White.
All the way here. I flew all the way, and boy, are my arms tired.
Been flapping for a while, as I would say. And on this episode of the Culture Cast, we are still observing Jess Byard July, praise be, and we are continuing to watch surrealism films that feature surrealism front and center. And boy, doesn't this film! We're going to be talking about Leos Carax 2012's Holy Motors.
Come closer.
Notre vie va changer. Go with me now! Fury! It's so weird! Go with me now!
The film is directed and written by Leos Carax, and it stars Denis Lavant as Mr. Oscar, a man who, in a Luis Buñuel-inspired way, goes through a lot of vignettes in his day. Because, hey, surrealism doesn't need a plot. It just needs a thinly veiled wraparound. Mike, I know neither one of us had seen this, and we're going to get into what the movie is. I mean, I just kind of let it out of the bag. There's not much of a plot. It is a lot of vignette-style stuff, but I want to know, what did you think of watching Holy Motors?
Yeah, I had been wanting to watch this for a long time. Luckily, well, I was going to say I knew nothing about the movie coming in, but I still don't really know that much about the movie right now. But I do have to say, I really enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun for me. And yeah, this seems like something that I would tackle on the projection booth and say, okay, let's try to figure out what the hell's going in this movie. So there's a lot of like clues and theories, and I was even watching YouTube videos about it today, and I'm really not sure yet what I think about this, but I know I had a good time watching it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. You know, what's really funny is you mentioned it before we started recording, or I guess you mentioned it at the top of the episode, like how many awards this won. And like, yeah, you scroll to the bottom of that Wikipedia page and it's like, it made the best list in 2012. I'm like, most everybody who is considered a film critic, like in text, I mean, mostly in text and like, you know, AV Club, even digital and stuff. How I had never seen this, how I had really never heard of it, I guess kind of surprised me because it's not a movie that's up my alley as it were, but it's definitely not unwelcome. I didn't know what to expect going into it. Again, the plot being just a guy gets in a car and he goes through Paris and he has these vignette style adventures throughout Paris. Like I'm all for that in a lot of ways. I mean, the Discreet Charm of the Bourgeoisie was a lot of fun because it's kind of similarly the same thing. A lot of just kind of small stories held together by the fanciful flights that the director is taking us on. And that felt like there's like flights of fancy here. And there's also weird, I mean, surrealist shit going on in droves. But ultimately, I'm with you. Like I had a good time watching it, but what I watched, I do not really know. Like it's wild. It's a wild movie that is just, it deserves a rewatch more than the 2 that I did. Like it's a 3 or 4 time watch, and you could probably just watch one vignette, take the one vignette and watch the 10-minute vignette on its own and then not worry about the rest of them.
For me, it really feels like an exploration of roles and acting. And even if we were to try to strip away what the plot might be overall, we have those vignettes, and each one of those vignettes is so strongly acted and so well put together that there were a lot of times where it was like, okay, this is the opening to a movie, this is the middle scene of a movie, this is the end of a movie. I could watch this entire thing. This one vignette could be an entire film. And I kept saying that quite a few times throughout this whole thing. I mean, even the musical interludes, but the first musical interlude with the accordion playing. Okay, if there's a musical that has that number in it, please sign me up. I would like to see that entire musical, please.
Totally. I am 100% with you. Like, and that for me is the sign of a good film that's told, a story that's told this way, and a film that's put together the way that this one is. And, it goes back to something that I think about when I think about this kind of storytelling. And again, it's kind of a crass comparison, but The Simpsons, when they did those, stories about Springfield, I mean, it's not a coincidence that steamed hams became so popular, because it is kind of a microcosm of the show in a lot of ways. And each vignette in this movie is kind of a microcosm unto itself, like you mentioned, of what the movie is talking about. Because this is, I mean, now that I know, and now that we both, like you said, are on the same page of it's a movie about movies and actors and making movies, of course it was so lauded by the industry.
Right.
Of course. We love this movie. Remember when The Artist won the Oscar for Best Picture, folks? Like, you know what? Hollywood and the industry loves a good movie about making movies. That's why La La Land was as popular as it was. But I would contend that this is better than all those movies, because it approaches it in such a very matter-of-fact way, in a way that only a French director could. Really, like just so matter-of-factly confronting what so many people do for a living, but yet, if you really sit down and think about it, is quite possibly the most bizarre fucking profession on the planet.
Yeah, just playing make-believe your entire profession.
For money.
But then the different ways that people approach it. Everybody that I talk to that is an actor has a different way of going about it. It's never the same thing twice.
Right.
And me, the way that I always start off my interviews, all right, how'd you get into the business? What was your motivation? How did you decide to do this? Everybody's coming at it from different places. Though oddly, it feels like there's a generation of male actors that the reason they got into acting was to try to impress a girl.
Right.
And then they said, oh, I really like being applauded. And it's kind of a drug. And they really get off on applause. And there's no applause in this movie that I can remember. I mean, the audience is asleep or dead, depending on who you ask. So there's no applause in this one.
No, and there is a point where Oscar's like, I still not sure I've gotten used to it when I can't see the camera.
Right. And
it's like that again. Those like small moments speak volumes as to what we're really talking about here, and what that character of Oscar and Denis Lavant we do Barney Miller together. What a face. Where was this guy in the 70s? Throw him into the 12th precinct, folks. He has a face for Barney Miller. He just looks the part.
He reminded me a little of is it Dominic Pignon, the guy from Delicatessen and all of yeah, just a little bit with the lines and everything. But my God, yeah, the transformations that he can go through, and you have to ask yourself, is this the same guy? Is this really the same guy? And it took me so long to realize how often he dies in these scenarios too. And I was trying to think, do all of them end with him dying? I don't think so, but there sure are a lot of them that have him in his last moments.
Yeah, there's I think it's like 2 or 3 in a row where he dies. I mean, it opens very kind of strangely, because we have a guy unlocking a door and then going into a movie theater, which I guess is the framing device, therefore, of the movie. So someone's watching this the way we're watching it. But then, we have Denis Lavant get into a car, and then he becomes a beggar woman. And he's like talking about how he needs to be protected while doing it like, and I, again, like what he's like a rich person, I guess, unless that's another role, folks. But yeah, like it opens very kind of just like slowly with him being a beggar woman. But by like the halfway point of the movie, he's stabbing himself in the neck, a version of himself in the neck, or shooting a guy in the head in broad daylight. I mean, a guy playing him like at himself in broad daylight. Like yeah. And I think it's like there are those three in a row where he dies. It's very bizarre.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm not sure if we ever see the real him. I don't know if that one at the beginning is real, because when we're at the end, it feels like, well, that could be his real life, but we know that's an assignment. And it feels like the previous one, the one that we started with, was probably an assignment as well.
Right. Because at the end of the movie, he's on assignment again, right?
Yeah. Even the thing that feels like it's not an assignment is an assignment, because they say, I think he's going to play 9 roles or have these 9 appointments. That's what it is. And then the one where the limo crashes and he ends up seeing his lost love, played by inexplicably but beautifully by Kylie Minogue.
I just can't get her out of my head,
Nice. That's one of his appointments. So there's nothing happenstance about that. In that one, they end up dead.
Well, and you mentioned it. You mentioned like we never know who the real him is, and like I think obviously like Leo Caro or Leo Cara, like that's the point here. Like we don't, if you're in that industry, do you ever know who you really are? Like even when you go home, are you putting on a mask and taking on a role of the husband at home? Like, and I mean, again, like it can be equated directly to the entertainment industry, but you can also equate it more holistically to humanity as a whole, and the faces that we wear on a daily basis, and the emotions and the feelings that we go through. But I know that I do not live in a house with chimps. I'll tell you that much.
Which I wonder if that was a nod to Max Mon Amour, the Nagisha Oshima film, which was from, I think he did that in France. And there's a few things in here where I'm like, is this a reference to something else? Of course, when Edith Scob puts on the mask at the end, I'm like, well, that makes total sense, because she was in Eyes Without a Face and she was wearing a very similar mask in that. And then having Michel Piccoli show up in this, it's like, I mean, between Marco Ferrari and Buñuel himself, the guy was in so many surrealistic films that, you mentioned Discreet Charm. He's the Minister of Science or something in that one. I can't remember what his role is. I don't think they have names. I think they have roles in that. Again, very similar kind of thing. I mean, I think it's obviously Caro knew what he was doing when it came to what he's up to. And then I want to say there were a few other references or just little things. That
the Merde one is a reference to that film that he did with Bong Joon-ho and Michel Gondry.
Oh, okay.
Because that's like the exact, I mean, I watched it. It's like the exact same character. Denis Lavant is just playing it again. Like, and he like goes and kidnaps inexplicably again Eva Mendes. Like,
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And like takes her to the sewer, but he's playing this like weird, like goblin-esque character, like a troll under the bridge type thing. Yeah, but inexplicably Eva Mendes. But it's a reference to another thing that Caro had made, previously. But again, like you would only know that if you were a Leo Caro fan.
Stan, I think they call him now.
Right. Sorry. Or if you even had ever heard of his career before. Like that's the thing. Like I watched this and then watched those. There have to be people that knew before going into this. What, and they were probably beside themselves when they saw Denis Lavant taking over the character of Monsieur Merde again,
Well, and then Denis Lavant being referred to mostly as Mr. Oscar. I'm just like, okay, I can't remember what that would Oscar or whatever in French would translate to, but I know what it translates to in English, which is an Academy Award.
Right. Exactly. And it's like, is this a little on the nose? Maybe. But again, like it being on the nose almost feels less like surrealism and almost like satire.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's that moment. And like surrealism kind of plays in that sandbox too, obviously. I mean, that's part of surrealism, can be satire or at least the poking of fun. But yeah, that would, for me, it's like, of course. Of course. And like, that's very pointed, but I think it's, I mean, it's no surprise that the second thing is he goes from having a practical effect on his face to then a CGI effect on his body. And it's like, okay, I get it. Like that's the comparing and contrasting to is apparent by where they place the vignettes in relation to one another.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. When he goes full motion capture,
which is fucking amazing.
What? Like when he starts doing all those, obviously it's somebody else in the suit doing all the crazy, like, I'm trying to remember the guy that played Darth Maul, but like,
oh, Ray Parks.
Yeah, it looks like Ray Parks doing mocap type of thing. And then when it switches into that absolutely bizarre sex scene, wow.
Not just a sex scene, Mike, a CGI snake sex scene.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming.
A snake with a very fat ass, mind you. It has a very perfectly heart-shaped ass. And then there's a gray snake dick hot dog and in between. That's literally what's happening. Like
you're not lying. No.
Snake dick hot dog, and might be a new sentence, folks, but it's what happens in this movie. And it's, I know, I mean, like, I guess it's probably just a comment on the phantasmagorical real existence of CGI effects. If you think about it, like I think we use the term CGI fuckfest a lot, is what I say in terms of like the last third of any Marvel movie, pretty much, or Indiana Jones movie anymore. But that last like CGI fuckfest, like it's that phantasmagorical thing that you see here with two snakes having sex on screen. Like, all right.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm watching this. Like,
right. Yeah.
Right. And shown with so little pomp and circumstance. It's just two snakes having sex. Like,
and it's so early in the film already that I'm like, what am I in for all of a sudden?
And well, this is not where I parked my car, folks. Yeah, well, and then the Monsieur Merde is the next one, and it
feels like the real showcase for me.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of there's like a weird, is it anti-Muslim? Like, I can't, like, what was the deal with the like the Muslim iconography and like Eva Mendes wearing a hijab?
Yeah, that was so strange.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out like what we're being led to by Caro. Like, again, when you're making a surrealist film or a film like this, like, I'm not saying it Bill Ackerman kind of took me to task for saying like interpret, and he's right. Like sometimes there's no interpretation, but this feels like there is a pointed use of these things in need of a, not interpretation, but maybe like a point of reference as to what you're getting at or what you're kind of going for. And I couldn't figure out for the life of me what that was, because it's like, there's only one thing it could be.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that we are still 3 years before the whole thing, the Charlie Hebdo shooting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, feels like the tensions around Islam are definitely coming through in this. And when he puts her in the hijab, and then it's almost like a fashion show that he's doing. But even before that, like biting off her fingers.
He bites off like the woman, like, who comes up to him, her fingers. And it's like, it's very like, it's the most, I think it's one of the more graphic displays. I think it's the most graphic display of violence in the entire film.
Yeah. I think between that and the throat slashing. But yeah, I think that this is more intense, and it just kind of comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, someone biting someone else's fingers off is never not going to be gnarly. Like, it's just
no.
Oh,
well, they made the very wise thing, because the thing that we're not really talking about are the pieces in between. Like if you're looking at a film frame, it's the black in between. It's that little respite for your eye, which is when he's in the back of the limousine, and those segments. Right. Vary in length as well. It's so crucial that they're showing him making himself up, and that seems like one of the longer segments of him making himself up and getting to see the stages of everything, like starting it off with the white eye, and that he hasn't had that before, and then the putting on of the spirit gum for the goatee, for the beard, and making it all tacky. I really loved that, and it really helped, because you saw so much of this artifice before he steps out of the car and suddenly becomes Mr. Merde, and just the body language that he has and those horrific talons of nails that he has, that we've seen him trying to move his hands normally and pull things out of this box and all this kind of stuff. But
Eat sushi.
Eat sushi with those hands. I kind of wish that scene had gone on for a little bit longer. But then when he gets out and then suddenly it affects that Nosferatu type pose, it's like, okay, good thing you showed me that lead up, because otherwise I would be really disconcerted.
Well, and talk about a very obvious usage of the music too in that scene.
Oh boy.
The literal Godzilla theme.
Yes.
And I was like, what do I know this from initially? And I was like, oh shit, it's just Godzilla. When it like launches into that, like the da 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 da. Yeah. 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 And again, like I think the interesting thing, you mentioned these kind of the interstitial segments. They also do that thing that you kind of hear people talk about when it comes to like reassuring kids that like an actor's not actually dead, it's just a part. It's like, oh, the behind the scenes of like Robert Englund going into the Freddy Krueger makeup. See, it's just a guy in makeup. Like that, I think is also, it's being used in that similar kind of tongue-in-cheek way of like, see, it's just all an act, folks. Like he's not actually killing anyone. He's not actually biting off anybody's fingers. It's maybe. It seems like he did. I'm not. It's method acting.
Yeah. Well, everybody is fine at the end of these segments, so which we'll find out later on.
Yeah. But what's interesting is like, again, it just feels like those moments in the limousine are these like very strange moments of respite in a still strange movie. Like there are weird things that happen, like another guy showing up in the limo just randomly that looks like Gorbachev.
Well, that's the Michel Piccoli. Yeah.
Right. Right. And I had I had no idea who he was outside of like looking it up after the fact. Right. And like I had seen him but he looks very different, obviously.
Yeah. This was towards the end of his, he died just a few years ago, but this is getting up there.
Right.
And then, you're right with that wine stain on his face. I also thought he looked a lot like Gorbachev with his hair pattern and everything. So it's funny that we're thinking the same thing.
I was expecting Denis Lavant to like reach over with a hanky, and I knew it.
Right. Breaks the fourth wall. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't let me see any of you around the United States again. Like, wait a second. It's Frank Drebin's finest role was being Denis Lavant is Frank Drebin in all those movies. It's just a role, folks. But
he kind of looks like him at the beginning with that gray hair.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is you mentioned it, like Denis Lavant is a chameleon in this movie. Oh boy. In a way that like, we talk about Eddie Murphy or Jack Black in Tropic Thunder doing that, like the fatties where it's like I'm playing 6 characters. Like this is that, but done with no pomp, no circumstance, no, hello, my name is Dave bullshit. It's just, he's an actor and this is his job, but he disappears into all of these roles in a way that Eddie Murphy wishes he could have in any of the times he did this kind of thing.
Well, and the movie throws you like the next segment after Married, when he suddenly becomes this father comforting his daughter. I was like, oh, okay, this is the real guy. This is Mr. Oscar in Off Hours. No, it's just another role. Just another role, which again, like to your point, fatherhood, just another role.
Right. And I really love the mundane nature of that scene, because it's just like to go from him with his erect penis out next to Eva Mendes, who I was convinced at one point, I was like, this is not Eva Mendes anymore. Like this, like the hijab is being used so that she can leave. And like, nope, he's sitting there with in full display, his wieners out. And there Eva Mendes pulls the thing back. And I'm like, wow. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then it cuts to him being like a father.
Prosthetic.
Really?
It looked like a prosthetic dick to me. Yeah. Just the way it was curved up. I don't know.
Get Denis Lavant on the phone. We got one question for you. That's it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
These Americans really wanted to talk to me, but they didn't have a lot of questions. Let's just put it that way.
Just one. Yeah.
Yeah. Just one goddamn question. But I love that they juxtapose that, which I think is like, in terms of like sustained intensity, they juxtapose that against like what you would consider to be the most mundane of all of the segments. It's the only one where like really nothing happens.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so much more her story than his story. He's more just kind of an ineffectual father at that point.
Right. Which I love him. I love Denis Lavant playing this like working class guy with the hat on. He's like, oh, you were in the bathroom the whole time. You lied to me. And it's like, this guy, we just watched this guy bite somebody's fingers off. Like, but that's the thing. I mean, it's again, it's like the thing that I said about Chris Evans in Knives Out. It's like, are we really led to believe that this guy's not the villain of the movie?
Right,
like, you know,
right.
but it's like, but again, like he played Captain America right before that. So it's the same thing of like, well, how do you undo that by just, I guess, hard steering 180 and going the other way? And I'm going to play a down on his luck father with a daughter who's kind of a shut-in, I guess.
Yeah.
But so compelling. Like,
Totally. Again, could be a movie. This whole piece could be one whole film.
yeah. And then we get him playing an accordion, which I think may be the best segment in the entire movie.
I absolutely love it. I just love the way that the song builds. And yeah, it's terrific.
And I love I love the intensity from the people that are in the scene with him, because you can tell, like, again, like, and background actors are a dime a dozen, but when you get some good ones, they fucking kill it. I'm talking like real. These people don't seem like actors. These people seem like just people. I'm not talking about like trained people. These are just like background people. They genuinely are having a good time, and it helps make that scene a nice, refreshing palate cleanser for the next like weird stuff that is coming. Because the movie just takes a hard right, I think, for a while, where it gets involved in a lot of like violence.
Oh, yeah. Well, violence and then more surrealism. The man that you kill has your face, and then the man that you killed kills you in the exact same way after you've changed him to look like you. So now it looks like twins laying next to each other,
which is insanity.
Oh, yeah. And I love that when he showed up, and he's got the assignment, and that's where they really start to show more of the paperwork. And I just thought to myself, it's going to be him as the other person. And I was so glad when it was. But again, didn't look like it. It took a lot of work for it to become him, with the beard and the long hair and the, I think, dark glasses or something. But yeah, once he started to shave away, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm glad I called that one.
And the upside down like triangle tattoo in the forehead.
Yeah.
Looks like a right proper like Slav squatter when he is pretending to be the gangster. Like he's evoking something very specific, and it totally works. Like Eastern European, like tracksuit wearing scum. Like, and it's perfect. Like, and again, this is a very, again, I would say unassuming French actor, like not someone that I would again think is very intimidating, but in that scene, he is very intimidating. And again, speaking to the idea of transformative roles and being transformative in what you do in your profession. You know, we know so many actors out there aren't really bad people in real life, but they play the best, worst people possible.
Oh, yeah. They always had the best stories.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. They get to be their worst selves at all times, which has got to be very fun.
Right. Like and that's the thing, like, you know, ultimately, you know, you talk about this scene where he kills someone who looks like himself, and then he makes him look like him. In the next scene, he kills himself while disguised as a guy with a balaclava on covered in barbed wire.
I love that look.
Same. It's so cool. Impractical as fuck, but cool.
Oh, yeah. Well, in this again, they pull the rug out from under us, because there's, you know, Céline driving him along, and then he, instead of her pulling over and letting him out, he yells for her to stop, jumps out of the limo with that amazing outfit on, and just runs right up to a guy and shoots him right in the head. And you're like, what? Like, this doesn't seem like an assignment. This seems like him having a vendetta. And then when he starts getting shot, I just was like, okay, how many times has he died? You know, like you said, we just had him die in the previous one. Here he is again. And I'm just like, this is pretty great that he's going to make it through this, even though he just got shot by all of these guys that were protecting the person. And I mean, who was the person? A banker, a politician? I don't know if we know that for sure.
I think I don't know, but it looked like he did at the beginning of the movie, right? Like
right.
Which again, like, we don't see the face of the guy he kills, but I assume it was him, right? Which again, like, I can't help but again wonder, like, what is that commenting on that he keeps killing people that looks like him.
Mm-hmm.
Like what is that driving at? And again, like, I don't know if it's driving at anything, but it seems oddly specific because they repeat it twice. It's like poetry. It rhymes.
I mean, you could suddenly say that this is a science fiction movie where the person has to go and kill all of their clones or all of the different versions of them in time. It could be that, right? Yeah, exactly. It gets more and more powerful each time.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that's interesting is, this is the only one where he stops the car. Right. And he's like, we need to stop. I'm getting out. And then Céline comes and gets him after he's been gunned down. And she's like, there's been a mix up. And the craziest thing about it is this is a movie because nobody reacts.
No.
It's like they know that he's not actually dead because it is a movie. And it's that moment of fourth wall. Yeah. And it's fourth wall breaking in a way that the movie doesn't really do. I mean, it does it a couple other times, but it doesn't do it like this blatantly with this many people any other time. But it's like if this actually happened the way that it happened, people would be freaking out. But they're like, oh, okay. Like, oh, it's a mistake, everybody. Sorry. I was on the wrong set. Right. Yeah. Again, like, and what's funny is like he keeps dying and coming back to life. It's like this again. How many times has Sean Bean died in all the movies that he's been in? But yet he come right. Like, and it's to the point where it's a joke with him as an actor. Like, oh, he dies in every, right. But again, yet we have him dying again because then he becomes an old man and dies in the most mundane way of dying.
Right. Really such a turn from the major adrenaline rush that we got from the last kill. And this becomes the opposite of that, where it's the old man making his amends at the end of his life and trying to really set up his granddaughter for success. It's
niece or something.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, this is very languid in its pacing, but it was, again, you talked about palate cleanser with the musical act. It's kind of palate cleanser here because it was just so slow.
And again, it's like the most, if we're again going down the Mr. Oscar route, it's the most baity Oscar thing possible, right?
Oh, God, yeah.
Right. Like, oh, like what else would he need? Like, just like, like he's blind too or something. Like, it's just adding, further compounding the ridiculousness of the scene. And then it's played so like just straight the entire time until it's not. And when you realize what's going on, it's even funnier. It's even funnier in a way that, again, like the movie is funny, but there are some moments where it's like, wow, you actually not only went there, but you landed it too.
And this becomes the first moment when I'm thinking to myself, is this now therapy rather than it just being a role that he's playing? Was he doing it for this girl? You're right. It was his niece, quote unquote. Is he doing it for her so that she has some closure or something? Did he do the dad act with the little girl? Was that her request to have that because she doesn't have a father? And so I start to recast the movie in my mind that way. Obviously it doesn't fit for everything, but it suddenly is like, oh, well, acting is like therapy. So it feels like we're getting different answers every single time.
Which I really appreciate because, like, on the face of it, it really is just kind of this wild pinball-esque ride through Paris on these like bizarre vignettes that seemingly, I mean, if you just watch it and don't give it a moment of thought outside of watching it, you're going to be like, oh, it's just this weird little vignette movie. But yeah, it's all these moments. If you just sit and think about it, or again, think about the ramifications of what it means to actually do this in real life. Like, again, it's weird to think about if you think about acting, these people that are like, oh my God, you played my kid on a TV show for 10 years. Like, I've never been in that position. I don't think you've been in that position either. But like, imagine how fucking bizarre that would feel, because at some point you probably feel like their parent, but you're not their parent. And yet in this scene, we have a guy playing a old man who's dying and a young woman who is invested in his life and his death. But yet she is also playing that part. And it's insanity. Because at the end, he's like, oh, like, what's your real name? Because he realizes, oh, yes, she's also an actor.
Right. Yeah. Which then I'm like, oh, wait, this can't be her therapy. Maybe it's therapy for somebody who's watching. And then, oh, fuck, I'm watching.
Right. Exactly.
Dun, dun, dun.
Right. And it's like, what do we want from film? What is film giving us as the viewer? What is our expectation being fulfilled? And do we hold it against the thing that we watch if it's not? I mean, that's the whole thing that I think any critic struggles with, is whether or not you should bring your own bias into talking about things, and whether or not your bias even fucking matters. Because again, this is a movie that Leo Carax made for probably himself, because he wrote it and directed it, and it's the exact movie that he wanted to make. But what does that mean for him that he made these vignettes as the creator? What is he going through and putting out on screen for us to see? And how are we interpreting it? Like you said, I mean, again, what is the intended purpose here? I'm not sure, because it seems like there's not just one, which I really appreciate. I don't need somebody to tell me what their movie's about. Yes. At least not specifically. I mean, because that's the thing David Lynch always talks about, is like, I don't want to give like a definitive explanation for my movies, because I don't want it to ruin what somebody else thinks is happening, which I appreciate. I mean, don't go full JD Salinger, but that's the counterpoint to all counterpoints, right? Is like, I refuse to let anybody touch my thing, because I don't want someone else's interpretation to get in the way of your interpretation. And like, I was actually kind of surprised there is, again, they kind of hint at it in this movie of like, what is really going on here, who's getting what. And that framing device of the movie theater at the beginning is like a, is this a movie in a movie in a movie, is kind of how many levels of reality are being observed and felt by the people in this, because we don't know what the base reality is at any point, because this scene with him as an old man is the one time where you're like, okay, maybe something is on the level, and it's the least on the level of all of it.
Yeah. And the way that she stays on the bed, her head on the bed, and then, yeah, I love when he's walking around, he's about to leave. Oh, wait, no, I have to come back and pet the dog before I head out of this scene.
Right. And it's like, there's a script somewhere, and they're all abiding by it, and you can't go off script. You can't go off script, because what happens if you go off script? Who knows? Just don't do it, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Which it feels like those men that show up in the back of the limo with him are producers, directors, all of the people that our actor would be working with, and they all have their different things. Like Piccoli, when he's like, "Oh, you look tired. What's going on? Don't you enjoy your work anymore?" And it feels very much like he's trying to direct an actor.
Well, and I mean, the idea in Hollywood that, actors are past their prime and they're no longer, we talk about it all the time with like older female actors and the way the industry treats them. And like, he answers the question the way a lot of actors answer, which is like, I'm doing it for the love of acting. Like Kenneth Tygar is in his late 80s and he's still acting. He still gets up every day and loves the craft that he does. I know that. I've never talked to him. You have, right? Like, Otto has, right?
Otto definitely has,
right?
Yes.
But like, this guy has been working in the industry for 50 plus years. Like, of course he loves it. And this is like the Denis Lavant character. It's like, this is he's never the main character in any of these scenes, you would think, but he is, but he isn't. Again, like, you don't know if this scene exists within itself or within the context of a greater narrative either. Because if all of these things are just movies being made, are we seeing a movie, or are we seeing 10 different movies, a piece of each one? Again, what is going on here?
Yeah, because again, we're back in musical territory with Kylie Minogue showing up. And this one, again, feeling like it's not one of the appointments, but then it ends up that it is. I love it. Him seeing this woman from across the way, their two limos wreck, and he looks across and sees this love of his life that he hasn't seen in 20 years. It becomes this, let's get away from here and, walk for a while. And, we have a very limited amount of time. It was almost like the Before trilogy, it's like, we only have tonight. And here they have 20 minutes and you need to fill me in on 20 years and 20 minutes. And then she starts to sing. And I was, again, not expecting this. And it becomes her movie. Like you were saying, he's not the star here, but he is, but he isn't. She's there, center stage, singing a beautiful song. I was really touched by it. And you were talking about music before. Yeah, there's some very prominent music placement in here. trying to remember. I think there's a Sparks song in one where he's driving a lot. It might be the father one where he's driving his daughter and they get this Sparks song. And yeah, I love that you've got that crazy accordion thing. You've got Sparks, you've got Godzilla music, you've got all of these different things. And then you have a musical number here with Kylie Minogue gracing us with her pipes.
And they actually have Kylie Minogue earlier in the movie too, when he gets his daughter from the party. You can hear Kylie Minogue being played at the party. And it was really weird because I was like, that's the Kylie Minogue song that I've heard. Can't Get You Out of My Head. And that's the one that they're playing. And then she shows up and I'm just like, what?
Right.
But it's so, because is that Kylie Minogue?
Right.
That's the question that I had, is like, is that Kylie Minogue? Because is it? Like, again, if it's actors being taken in these cars places, is it? Yeah, again, like, and it's so weird because, of course, if Kylie Minogue were cast in a movie, they would have her sing.
Right, exactly.
Right.
It's the producers and directors making this package. Oh, we've got Kylie Minogue. Of course, she's going to have to sing.
Right. And of course, it's going to be like a romantic dramedy comedy, like not a comedy so much, but like a romantic film. Like, oh, we only have 20 minutes. We're, star-crossed lovers, blah, 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 yes. Like the most saccharine, melancholy horse shit possible. But that's the point. Like, that is literally the point. And I haven't seen a movie that really does such a good job in taking the industry to task, but also lavishing love on the industry the way that this movie does. In a way that doesn't feel disingenuous. Like so many of those movies just feel like, oh, the industry loves itself. And it's like it's low hanging fruit. Like this doesn't feel that way.
Yeah. And talking about melodrama, the ultimate melodramatic end where she and her partner have jumped off of this building and Mr. Oscar sees it and cries out and becomes this anguished scream. And then once you realize, oh, that was one of the appointments, which you may realize that while you're watching it, or maybe later on where you're just like, oh, wait a second, he did the 9 things. That must have been one of them. When you realize that, no matter when it is, it's like, oh, wow, that's really clever.
And then he goes to what you think is his home.
Right.
The end of the movie. And then it turns out he's in a pink house with chimpanzees.
Yep. Your wife and children are chimpanzees.
And somewhere Brendan Fraser let out a furry vengeance cry that the world could not hear over the Oscar that he got this fucking year, even though he was in a movie with animals. Yeah. Seems like a little pointed commentary, folks. That's all I'm going to say. Just because a guy's in a movie with animals doesn't mean he can't win an Oscar.
Yes.
This is a strange movie because again, it doesn't masquerade as a Hollywood movie externally, but the moment you watch it, it's very apparent what's going on.
Yeah, it really makes you think, and I can see why this was getting so lauded. And I'm really glad that we're having this discussion, Chris, because I did not put that much thought into this last night when I was watching it. It really took this discussion to realize how much I cared for this film.
Same. I like I said, I watched it twice, and I also kind of just skipped around through some of the weirder segments that I kind of had a hard time figuring out what was going on. But the thing that really threw me for a loop is kind of the last 10 minutes of the movie, because I think that's him at the end when he looks like, I don't know, he looks like Tom Cruise in Collateral, which is an oddly specific reference, but the hair is exactly that. And it's shot in a Michael Mann-esque way.
Yeah, it so is.
And like, what is that? I'm like, what are we getting at here? And then the movie ends on a joke, but then the movie, like it ends with Mr. Oscar on a joke. But then I was trying to figure out what is the point of the actual cars?
Right.
Because the cars talk.
Right. Yeah. Which again, we've moved into another movie, I can't remember if Herbie talked, but I mean, we've all seen a talking car, or a talking cat, but that suddenly it becomes a conversation amongst the cars. And before that, having Céline with donning her mask before she can leave the garage. And I kept wanting to see where the other drivers are wearing masks as well.
And to your point, it's like like you said, we've all seen a talking car, and like I didn't even think about that initially. I was like, why are they doing this? Oh, right. Because they're literally actors too.
Yeah. And I love this whole thing of how they are worried about getting old and outdated, so much like actors do.
Right. It's like everybody's got the same problem, even if they don't realize it.
Mm-hmm. And just that they're all the same darn car. They're all, affluent white vehicles.
Gaudy white limos.
Yeah, very, very gaudy. And that they're passengers carrying around Kylie Minogue, carrying around Mr. Oscar. And you just wonder how many of, obviously you don't wonder anymore how many of these are out there, because you see this fleet of limos, but that's just one, garage in Paris. How many of these other garages are there? How many of these people are just moving amongst us, doing these almost performance art type pieces? Thinking especially of Mr. Maynard, just they live in our same air, but they breathe it differently.
Yeah, an apt way of putting it. And it is, like you mentioned, it is interesting that this is just the one, and it's never hinted at, but that there is so much more going on, because the movie hints at it by just leaving those little moments to kind of they leave you with them, but they don't leave you with them for so long that it's like it's asking you to ask yourself about it. It just goes, like the thing at the end, or the fact that he dreams in zoetrope for whatever reason, essentially, right? Like it's paying homage to the history of film and what an actor is and what an actor does, but not being like, this is Tom Cruise. Like it's just, this is Mr. Oscar, which means it's any actor trying to do that thing, but any actor also just trying to act.
Yeah. Good call on the Collateral reference, by the way. I once you said that, I was like, oh, that makes total sense.
It's like so oddly specific, but all of a sudden he has this like white wig on, and they're shooting him from an angle where it's like looking up at him. And I'm just like, what else is this from?
Right.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this movie. And I normally don't enjoy movies like this because I have a hard time watching the industry kind of not masturbate on screen, but pat itself on the back overly hard. Because that's what those movies feel like, right? It's like, we get it. We are entertained because there's not a whole lot of other avenues for big time entertainment. It's movies. Like there's still, as much as we all maybe bemoan the theaters and the movie theater system, like to go to a movie and see a movie, there is no other replacement for that. And that is, again, like there's part of that here where it's like there is no other job like being an actor. And to explain, if you were to try to explain to someone who doesn't understand what acting is, what you do for a living, they would think you're actually fucking crazy.
Yeah, reminds me of that clip of Ian McKellen talking to Ricky Gervais about how he's an actor and how he gives such great performances. Do you remember that one?
Mm-mm.
Mr. Peter Jackson comes to me and says, I want you to play Gandalf, and he's a wizard. And I said, Peter, you understand that I am not a wizard. And he just starts to say, like, how he does it is he pretends that he's another person. And that's his whole secret to acting. Ian McKellen. Peter Jackson calls action. Wizard. Cut. Ian McKellen.
And I feel like that is the thing that the movie kind of toys with too, is like, is this method? Is this real? Where's the man? Where's the actor? And some actors clearly have the line. Ian McKellen is very much himself when he's not on screen. Ian McKellen is a very, 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 very interesting fellow, but he's nothing like Gandalf in real life. About as far from Gandalf as humanly possible. But that's the thing. It's like, who is Mr. Oscar? We do not know. And does he know?
I don't know if he knows anymore. After you play pretend for that long, I wonder if you start to question who you really are.
I'm the dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. I mean, there is some of that here. Like, again, like Tropic Thunder has that like needle moments of, the whole Robert Downey Jr., Ben Stiller thing about, actors portraying characters that have developmental disabilities in movies. That whole thing is, again, just like this. It's like, this is crazy town, guys, that we're pretending ultimately. Like, boil it down. That's what it is. But yet we put these people up on the pedestal for breathing the air differently. And it is It is the movie gets right to the heart of it. And by the end of the movie, yeah, he's in a house with chimpanzees. Right.
Like you do.
Like you do. Like you do. And I guarantee the next day he's going to be picked up. And once again, he's going to go to wherever he's going and doing whatever he's doing. He's going to end up somewhere else that's not his home again at the end of the movie, because I don't think he has one.
Yeah.
But I think that's the point.
The day he'll probably shoot a family of chimpanzees.
Right. Free vengeance too. I'm sick of these chimp bastards. God, yeah. This was a fun one. This was definitely one that I kind of wish more people have seen, because a certain group of people clearly saw this. Like,
oh God,
that's apparent. But the people that I wish had seen it haven't. And this is definitely going to be like I will mention this to people. Is like, if I know you and I know this is the kind of thing you would enjoy, this will be the kind of thing I suggest, because like it is definitely a movie watcher's movie, and someone who appreciates film and what goes into making film and the weird intricacies of like all of this industry. Because this industry is way weirder than it even seems, as long as you think 2 seconds about it. Because again, if you don't know a lot about the movie industry, you're not going to get a lot out of this. If you don't know who a director and actors are and a writer are and producers are, there's going to be some like learning curve. But this movie is a lot of fun. And that's a hard thing to come by, I feel like, anymore.
Really makes me wish that I had also watched Annette, his 2021 film, the one with Adam Driver, but I haven't seen that yet. I was super excited when they were talking about it, and I didn't connect that it was the same director as Holy Motors. And yeah, I think had I seen Holy Motors when I probably should have, I would have seen Annette. But yeah, it's I'm really glad that we had this discussion, because I really appreciate this one a lot more.
And I wanted to watch Annette as well, but I kind of almost wanted to like do an episode on it, because it's a rock opera. And since when do you get a rock opera ever coming out in any sort of fashion or format anymore? Like,
which now makes me super excited after that accordion sequence.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. Like that was like 5 minutes that he was given to nail a song. Like give the guy a whole movie. Like, yeah, come on, folks. Like, yeah. And that for me is like, that's the other thing that this movie really made me excited to watch movies, like more movies. I'm like, that's really rare, when it's like, I love that this movie talks about movies in a fun way, gets me to think about movies in a different way, and makes me want to go watch movies and maybe think about them a little differently. And that's not, again, anymore when you watch as many movies as you have and as I have and as so many people that we work with have, to watch something that genuinely is different and exciting and fun and brings back that joy of filmmaking is hard to come by. It really is. But what does the title mean? That's the last thing I wanted to ask you.
Oh, yeah.
Because like, that's the thing that I cannot figure out, because they go to Holy Motors at the end. That is where the cars are. But what does that mean?
Right. Are we suddenly now thinking that these white cars are angels? You know, I found it interesting because the second O in Motors seems to be not right. So I'm like, okay, am I seeing these as eyes? Yeah, I was looking for anything, Chris.
Me too. Like I couldn't for the life of me figure it out. I mean, I looked at the poster for the movie, and the poster for the movie uses the headlights as Denis Lavant's eyes, but that doesn't give me anything else. It's just a really novel way of using headlights on your movie poster more than anything else.
Yes, good job on the headlights. It's very good. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure this ascension to what I would assume is a heaven of some sorts. If you're called Holy Motors, don't know. Yeah,
I don't. I was just wondering that the whole time, like, what does that mean? Because there are other things that have meaning in the movie, and maybe it's meant to just be arbitrary, just like titles for movies ultimately are.
True.
I mean, they kind of are. You know, ultimately, like, most things are arbitrary unless they're somebody's names. But even then, like, Indiana Jones was not something that existed before 3 people came up with it. Like, before then, that was just a jumble of letters that described a state in this country and a lot of people's last names. But those two things together mean something. Holy Motors means jack shit together. But I think that may be ultimately the point. Leo Carax like, haha, they asked the stupid question. They asked the one question that's the obvious one.
Right.
God.
Quit making fun of us, Leo.
Yeah, right. So, Mike, final thoughts on Holy Motors.
Well, I'm very thankful to Jess for picking this, and I'm very thankful to you for having me on for this one, Chris.
Same. Yeah. It was like, again, like, I don't know any final thought needs to be said other than like, if you can find this movie, you should watch it. If you listen to this show, like,
it was a little tough to find. I seem to remember it was out on Netflix for a long time, but it's not there anymore.
It's on Plex for free.
Oh, okay.
Which is super strange. I think so. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of set up for commercials, at least 9 breaks.
Right. Yeah. So at least last I checked, you could find it on Plex for free, which I mean, makes perfect sense given that it's an international film. And, you know, I don't know how else a lot of international films get to the States, but Plex and Tubi and so that's the thing. Plex has like a whole thing that I never use, which is free Plex because it's just like Tubi and Pluto. Like Plex has Point Break, like the original movie on there to watch for free. Like I associate Plex very differently because it's more of like a personal thing, but yeah, it's free to watch on Plex right now, just like Pluto, just like Tubi. So if you want to watch it, which you should, Plex, folks, introduce yourself to Plex.
You won't be sorry.
No, but his penis is blurred out in the Plex version.
Oh.
I know that's the question everybody was asking, but
of course.
It is not
shouting at the radios.
It is not uncensored, which is also bizarre. But yeah, Plex, where you should definitely go check it out. It's so yeah, to your point, thank you, Jess, for picking this because I never would have seen it without Jess picking it, and you finally got to watch it. So yeah, both positive. So on that note, we'll take a break and we'll play a preview for the next and final Culture Cast of July.
From Terry Gilliam, director of Time Bandits, Brazil. Voted Best Picture by the Los Angeles Film Critics Association. Time magazine says a terrific movie, one of the 10 best of the year. A remarkable accomplishment, the New York Times. Brazil is as good as they come, USA Today, starring Jonathan Pryce, Robert De Niro, and Katherine Hellman.
We're all in it together, kid.
Rated R.
Now in select areas. Check newspapers.
That's right. On the final Culture Cast of July, I'm finally getting to watch a movie that I've never seen, and Mike's going to be surprised that I've never seen it. I'm watching Terry Gilliam's Brazil.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, never seen it.
Make sure you watch the one with the happy ending.
Oh, really?
No.
I was like, I'm pretty sure I've heard the exact opposite.
Oh, yeah, that's Terry Gilliam's preferred cut.
Is it really?
Happy ending. No.
Okay, good. I was supposed to say, like, there's no way. This is like the hit Alt F4 while you're doing something on your computer. Yeah, got it. Kills your computer completely. Okay. He's leading me astray, folks.
Yeah, sorry.
You've done a whole episode on Brazil on your show.
Yeah. I had a good time with that one because it wasn't a favorite of mine. I want to say Rob was on that and it was a favorite of his. And yeah, I actually got to speak with Sir Michael Palin about that one.
Wow.
That was quite an honor.
It's got Jonathan Pryce in it, right?
Yeah. He's fantastic in it.
Fucking love Jonathan Pryce, the overacting king of he's so good. That's why I'm excited.
G.I. Joe, baby.
He's oh my god, Jonathan Pryce I love him and I love him as an actor. He's just so I know he's the lead, so I'm excited to watch it. And I'm going to be joined, hopefully, fingers crossed, by Jess and Maggie to talk about the movie with me because I know they're just as excited to watch it because they are the ones who like it and I'm the one who's never seen it. So until then, Mike, where can people find you and all the things that you work on? Everything that I do is over at weirdingwaymedia.com. You can find, obviously, this show, the Projection Booth podcast, The Life and Times of Captain Barney Miller, The Shabby Detective, Rankin on Bass. So many good things for your ear holes. Rankin on Bass coming to an end soon, folks. Get in now before the doors close. That's right. Before the episodes are just all available to listen on the internet. Every Pinocchio must go. Yeah. Smokey the Bear, take him out back and do whatever. Take him out to the farm upstate, folks. But we don't need Smokey staying here. Okay. We didn't sign up to store him long term. So it's a SeaWorld setup. We just don't have enough space for you, Smokey. You need to go away. Oh, permanently. Well, at least they're letting him go. As opposed to SeaWorld, yeah, we'll just keep this sad whale in a tank for 30 years. Bye. That bear has mange. No, honey.
Oh,
Yeah, I know it's mange. Yeah, no, rank. Yeah, but like Mike said, Weirding Way Media is where you can go to hear all the things that Mike and I do together, which is a lot of things, but a lot of great things, especially if you're a fan of classic television or movies or whatever strikes your fancy. If you're a fan of pop culture, Weirding Way Medias, you can go to get all those things. As for this show, patreon.com. Big thanks to all of our patrons. There are levels that you can join, 10, 20, and 50 for your pleasure and my pleasure and everybody's pleasure. Bonus episodes, bonus material, get to program a month, get to program 2 movies. If that's something you're interested in, patreon.com/culturecast is where you can go to get involved monetarily. But like, rate, and review the show wherever you get it. Unless you have a bad opinion, then keep it to yourself. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But seriously, don't do it. But seriously, do it anyways. I mean, rate and review the show on iTunes because that's the only place you can rate and review anything. So, Mike, thank you so much for joining me. This was a lot of fun.
thank you, Chris. I really appreciate it.
And as always, we'll catch you on the next episode.